Oh my god, it's Hotline League episode 42. I've been seeing some complaints about the energy and the awkwardness of these intros, but I'm doing it anyway. You know why? Because it's a hot, spicy show to talk about tonight. We got some news that's broken, a little bit about the English broadcast taking place in Los Angeles. I live in Los Angeles, but I'm going to Korea. Sounds like the casters aren't. There's some other stuff. You know, we got TSM. They made it through. Who knows what's going to happen with Echo Fox? A whole lot of news to talk about as we get closer and closer to the summer finals. Hotline League episode 42 starts right now. Hotline League is brought to you by Opened by HP. And now it's much quieter, and everyone talks about how annoying that was.
I don't think we do that normally.
How are you, Mark?
Pretty good. Playing some WoW.
Wow.
I love how we go from that intro
awesome.
to this. Okay.
I was just trying to think if there's anything else going on in my life.
How are you doing in WoW? So you're doing Mythics?
I'm 321, so
Okay.
I can. I mean, I found out you can just do Mythics on without using the fucking Finder, and you can just walk in with people and just fucking do them.
Yeah.
So I'm tempted to just start doing that because getting straight. I feel pretty. I don't know.
Are you're still not in the NALCS guild?
No, I mean I told you about how I got my brain's dumb, and so James told me he's on Emerald Dream, but he's Alliance, and everyone else is like, oh yeah, we play Horde. So then I made a Horde on Emerald Dream, but everyone's on Tichondria, so now I'm on the wrong faction on the wrong server.
You should just transfer.
Yeah, but then I messed up, and then my girlfriend's on the same server because we just made them together, and now it's now I have to make her switch too.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm just toughing it out because the only thing you can't do is mythic raids. You can even do normal raids cross realms. So until I'm there, I'll fucking transfer then.
Yeah. Kelby, how you been doing? You look a little tired. Is that because you were watching Dota 2 all weekend and it's time to take a nap because all that is it's caused narcolepsy for you?
I did just get back from the international. Interesting. They do something a little bit different than League of Legends.
Are you gonna at any point in time? Are you gonna listen? I'm gonna give it to Riot this episode, but I'm just wondering if
I'm gonna get to finish what I was gonna say.
just go for it.
I was just gonna say the international is interesting to me in that their approach to broadcast is slightly different because for groups throughout the entire main event they have their broadcast talent on site, but that's just I guess the way that they choose to do it.
Yeah. How was TI, Kelby? How did you enjoy it?
How many visas did they get for that broadcasting talent?
I don't know. I mean, I guess all of them because they make it there, but they do Chinese language broadcast, Russian language broadcast, English language broadcast. There's probably another one, but I think I'm missing it. All on site.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
But did you enjoy TI?
Yeah, TI was dope. EG got top 3. That's pretty much what determines my level of enjoyment at TI. I think it was in Vancouver this year.
Yep.
And
did you say I think it was in Vancouver this year? You didn't even know where you were?
Well, Vancouver reminds me of Seattle in some ways.
Okay.
But normally it's in Seattle. I don't think it was as good as the Seattle events, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Was it at a different time? Because I remember last year, I finished.
I think it was a week later this year.
Or I mean, day/time, because I remember finishing LCS last time, and going home and watching the finals.
No, it was Saturday last year too.
Well, LCS was earlier last year, Mark, and it was best of threes.
Yeah, okay.
So in a world where it started at 12 and you only had 4 matches,
yeah,
right.
Finals this year also went a good amount later because it was a 5-game series, whereas last year was the 3-game series.
Weldon shows up in
I didn't catch any of it.
Weldon shows up in the Hotline League chat and starts a TSM chant in my Twitch chat. It's offensive to me. Well, either way, glad to have you back, Kelby. It's been a little bit. The show, you guys don't know, it's Colin's show. You guys all know, so we'll skip that. But let's talk about some of the hot topics. I actually think normally people are just spamming TSM now. Normally, Mark and we talk a little bit about our takes on some of the news that hit. I actually think it's better if we just get straight into callers. Obviously, but I think, Mark, maybe we should address sort of the English broadcast stuff. One, you work on the broadcast, so I assume that you knew this was a thing, and it's kind of a weird situation for you to talk about it because you actually work with those guys, right?
Yeah, and you were holding out on us, which is interesting.
Yeah, what the fuck? I don't get paid enough to leak shit for our views. What the hell? Compared to what I get paid at Riot, let's go.
Oh, okay. I see. I thought you were saying you don't.
And
get paid
I'm loyal
enough
to
at Riot.
There you go. So I was hoping that Mark would sort of explain that he has a bit of a conflict of interest here. He did just now in his own special way.
Right.
I actually knew about this as well too because I was given the heads up for a couple different ways, but the way in which I was given it,
I was the only one not holding out on you, Chad.
I had told you, I had talked about
Vedius,
this.
Apparently, I don't know why that.
Hang on, I want to get to the Vedius thing in a second, but Kelby, you should have known this because I mentioned it in our Skype group. I knew about it, and the reason I couldn't say anything about it was because it was given to me as like additional context on, you know, if I wanted to go cover Worlds or whatever. It was kind of like, hey, Travis, before you book anything, you should know about this, but it was given to me off the record. I wasn't in a position to really say about it, so I knew it was going to come out at some point in time. But speaking of the Vedius thing, it was
given to you off the record.
Yes,
but it ended up in our Skype group.
Oh, I found out about it from some other place as well.
I think it didn't end up in the Skype group because I didn't know about it.
Oh, maybe that's the case. Well, let's go with that because
let's go with that for Travis to say.
Yeah.
So on that topic of like off the record, and then like what I often hear about a lot of stuff through like some channels that I shouldn't be using to like get information, but then I always like confirm through other things if I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah. But either way, I never would have expected it to be Vedius' stream that made the announcement. And the way in which he made Mark, have you seen the clips?
Yeah, he looks so mad about it.
Well, he looks mad about it, but it's amazing because he looks mad at people being surprised. Like, that's my favorite part. You watch clip 2.
Is that what he's mad at?
Yeah, well, I watch clip 2, and people are like, why would that be the case? And he's basically like, because it's so much cheaper, you idiot. Like, why would you ever think we would do it?
I didn't know who he was mad at. I thought, to me, it felt more like he was just like mad that he wasn't going to Korea or something. I didn't think he was mad at his chat for it being like, what the fuck?
I think it read to me like he was more surprised and like dumbfounded that is like he didn't feel like he should have to explain it.
Yes. That's how I read it, because he was like, "Can do you understand how much it costs to send a whole broadcast team to another country
for a month?"
Yeah, the clips are on the subreddit, guys. We don't need to link them, or one of the mods can link it or something. I don't. But it's just it's riveting stuff. I gotta say, because I absolutely love that that's how this announcement came out.
I wouldn't mind if Riot took that approach more often. Just let Vedius talk about shit on his stream. I actually thought it went over really well.
Because it's such a sensitive subject. Like, it is there's so many layers of this too, because I think a lot of people might know that like casters streaming and if they can monetize their stream has been like a long discussion with Riot too. And so the fact that you've got a caster on his stream saying something that like paragraphs and paragraphs of text come out from like all sorts of different parts of esports, and like people are now like tweeting, like Riot is forced to like tweet out pictures and screenshots of the comments that they're making because they're so far downvoted. It's just it's so funny. I mean,
I feel bad for Vedius because I'm sure
yes. I'm sorry. I'm poking fun at him because it's
a
little shocking that I'm sure he's having it's like unfortunate. Maybe he just didn't realize that it was such a sensitive subject, but part of the reason I find it funny is when I found out about this, I was like, okay, well, how are they going to message this? Because this is going to look like shit.
I mean, it was definitely something where there was like, I mean, Riot wasn't like blind to the fact that it will be a controversial thing. So like we were all like somewhat aware, talking internally about messaging and stuff.
Yeah.
When was the plan to message? Well, you probably can't answer that, or maybe you can. When were they gonna talk about it?
I'm of the casting talent, I might be one of the most on the outside on things like that. So I don't know, but like I would speculate that on the day that they, you know how they always like put out that big infographic of like this is our roster of talent. Like I think at some point it would.
I had multiple people not in high.
Asterisk.
I had multiple people not in high up positions or whatever when I discussed this that were implying like, well, we're just gonna do it and see when people figure it out. So like I kid you not, I had multiple people who just said, well, it's casting against the dark screen like it always is.
There's no fucking way, because like one of the things is on social media, people always tweet about like getting ready for Korea and stuff. And then it's like, hey, here's Frosk in LA.
And that's why I say like I wasn't talking to PR people or I wasn't talking to production people. Like nobody take that as like that was their plan. But I did have multiple people imply to me that like, well, it'll be interesting to see how long people figure it out. I assume that they would just say we're live from the Los Angeles studio at the start of the broadcast. Right. Yeah. And that's how people would figure it out. I don't think that they would try to hide it, but again, like I think it's just funny that a lot of people thought so. And by the way, somebody says, "Holy, no one knows the context, guys." This is a problem that we make a bunch of allusions to things. So, Vedius, it was announced through the Vedius stream today.
Here, I'll just fucking link it because people are too dumb to go.
Well, but for people that are watching the YouTube and stuff, the English broadcast, the casters who normally after play-ins go to China for last year's Worlds or travel around the U.S. Or wherever. They always go to wherever they're going to broadcast. They'll just be broadcasting exclusively from the LCS studios. So it's a controversial topic because I think a lot of people are like, well, now your talent isn't even there. Just I think across a whole year of conversations around them downsizing, the joke to make here would be, oh, how are they going to do Worlds out of the LCS studio, NALCS studio, when they've already announced that it's going to be in Korea? Well, now we have our answer. Anyway. So, look, I have a lot of opinions about it. I know Kelby does, and Mark is in a tight position, but I'd rather just hear your guys' takes because I'd want to know that, and then we'll kind of, I think Kelby and I can kind of bounce off of that. But on top of that, we had some other stuff happen. TSM made it through in a crazy best of 5 series. FlyQuest is donezo, much to Kelby's disappointment, I'm sure. Fuck. And yeah, I mean, just a whole bunch of it. Am I forgetting anything else, Mark?
It means Clutch is in the gauntlet now officially.
Yeah, that's true.
Who cares to watch those really emo boys play another game?
Yep. So that's, I think, the top stuff. But if you guys have other stuff you want to talk about from this past week, that's fine. Can I
just talk about the drama because it's not like no one knows what it is?
Yeah, sure.
So you know how Bogchin played on this weekend instead of Mickey?
Yes.
Oh, not this weekend, but week 9.
Yes. I have heard a little bit about this, but I was just a rumor. So go for it.
You have heard this.
I heard just somebody mentioned it, and I didn't understand the context. So now I'm happy to.
The context? I don't think you need much context. He just went back to Korea on his own. After a scrim set. And he's always been like a super duper rager. And a bunch of people told me he's one of the worst teammates they've ever played with.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So, after a scrim set before week 9, Mickey, gets angry?
So, yeah. There's you know how the player rooms are situated at the LCS? Like, you can kind of see, like, some of them and, like, hear some of them based off, like, where they are in the actual studio and office.
Sure.
Yeah, he very frequently after losses would get very, very upset to the point that, like, anyone near that room could see or hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, everyone knows he's just, like, the super duper rager. In solo queue, people talk about how he's just, like, the most toxic person ever. Like, I'm sure you guys have seen the linked screenshots and stuff like that all the time.
No, I knew that solo was supposed to be a rager. I hadn't heard that Mickey was a rager.
Mickey, like, if you don't follow, like, high solo queue accounts, you might not see it because I don't know if the pro players talk about it as much. But, like, you know who Forrest Within is? He's, like, a Kindred one trick.
Yeah.
He's a Kindred one trick, high elo, and, like, Mickey's, like, telling him, like, oh, you fucking suck. Like, stop playing in my games, you piece of shit. Like, just constantly, like, flaming him. And then,
practicing English.
Yeah,
how is Mickey's English? Pretty good?
I don't think it's that great.
Okay.
But I haven't had a
I interviewed
conversation
him. There's a mostly English interview on my channel,
So
which
it's
might
not
be
too
the
bad.
last one I guess I ever get.
Yeah, probably because he walked out on NA.
So okay,
Yeah.
so what is the story that he left after the games, or
So this is the part that I don't have 100% clarity on. Is
Yeah.
exactly like the order of operations, but basically midweek scrim set afterwards went back to Korea. Whether or not he communicated before he did that, but from how it was told to me, it was his like Mickey decided to do that. It wasn't
Okay.
like
I want to know what team tilted Mickey out of the States, because that's got to be like a pretty high accolade.
that's gonna go on my resume like for the next team to apply for. Like
yeah.
Yeah,
I played so well
those
in a
were rough
scrim
games.
that a player left the country.
Yeah. So that's one of those drama things that like the scene would never hear about unless one of us decide to talk about it. And I feel like we have become a little too sanitized as a scene.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the farewell Mickey video. You know, the tribute that all the orgs love to do now, thanking the player for their
it's
time.
always thank you. It's always thank you, so and so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mickey, for everything you gave us.
Thank you for making fans think we had a chance during
great.
week 4.
We'll miss you, Mickey.
Anyways, that was the little drama. Just want to get it out of the way before the actual show. Because I don't want to have to pull a caller to be like, what's the drama? And then talk about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, maybe it's time to start talking about.
Ooh, we got a lot of people in here tonight. I haven't even plugged it yet.
People all day long have been messaging us, me and Kelby and everybody asking for the Discord. They want to talk about stuff. Everybody's got.
All right.
Yeah. Twitter was lit today.
Give the spiel.
All right, so here's the spiel. If you haven't been here before, but it seems like a lot of you have, I am posting a Discord link in Twitch chat right now. You're going to want to click that and join up with the Discord. When you get here, you're going to have to join Pleb Calls or Pleb Calls 2's voice channels. You can mute yourself once you're there. And then in the Pleb Topics text channel, go ahead and post your take. So whatever it is you want to talk about this week, probably going to be a lot of stuff about the Riot Games and not going to Korea thing. Go ahead, put it in there. Don't just say, I want to talk about the Riot Games Korea thing. Say, I think it's awful. I actually don't care. Whatever your actual opinion is, I want to see that so I know what I'm pulling. Then you'll get dragged into the waiting room if I like your topic. Once you're there, you'll hang out until it's your turn. I'll come in, make sure your microphone's good to go, and then I will be able to get you on the air.
I do think it'd be fun to talk about Dardock rage quitting. Because I actually don't. Oh, whatever.
Well,
did you hear about that, Kelby? You were at TI.
He left a game early.
Yeah, he left a game early. Like what was it? Did he initiate the fight though?
I don't remember. So like, I actually got a bunch of people,
is back.
I got a bunch of people tweeting at me like, "You guys didn't talk about that on the AD. You guys are covering up for him." And I'm like, "What? I didn't even notice he did that."
Yeah,
until
I did.
I read that tweet, and then I saw it on the subreddit and stuff, and I was like, "Whatever." Like, I didn't.
Let's just hang on. Let's see if a caller calls in. Let's have the take. Then I don't.
All right,
It's coming up now.
Yeah, the Dardock take.
Yeah.
I gotta hear the story though, the full story.
All right, hold on. I'm tweeting out real quick.
By the way, yeah. So Mark is already pulling callers, but if you don't know how this works, Mark, spam the Discord. I put the instructions in right now. It's discord.gg/Travis. You can join. You can either join the pleb calls and put your questions in there. Please don't spam. I'm already seeing some spam. No spam allowed. That's one way that Mark will not pick you. But
no, I really enjoy reading the same topic 10 times, actually, guys.
Yeah.
That really was like, oh, I missed it.
Makes his life so much easier whenever there's just one paragraph of text. It's people treating it like a copy pasta from Twitch chat. If you are a sub, though, you can get access to the subtopics chat. It moves a little slower in there, so maybe gives you a little bit of a better chance of being pulled. And, of course, if you do get pulled, I do my best to thank you on the chat. There are a shit ton of subs that have come in tonight, so I need to make sure that I thank all of them as Mark is pulling people.
Also, make sure people, if you're posting in the text channel and you want to come on the show, I need you to be also pleb calls too. There's someone I was going to pull, but he's not in.
Yep.
Oh, so Mrs. Chance is not reading that again.
Okay. Thank you to I am Johnson, Commander Charmander, Beej, 10K Cold Knights, OMG you ate my cookies 5, OMG you ate my cookies 5, gift a sub to Sneaky, Kuiper Samfix99, Quiblu, Mo Stashian, Educated Collins, Leodal, TSM Mithy, who by the way is supposedly the actual TSM Mithy, didn't get gifted and just threw a sub at us, which is crazy. 141414555, St. Louis Slayer 24, Michaels 21, Never Get Mad, Volgy JP, Captain Crouton, Mr. Spook, Ryu Prox, I Shredley, Ateo Rachel, who came in for 5 months and wrote Wahoo, ZBake05, Lalo Samo, Tic Tac Ninja, Tic Tac Toe Ninja, Real Foxy gives us up to League of Emily, Inbell9163, Mr. Boom, and Raldios. We'll catch up with some more of those in a little bit. So many tonight. You guys are so generous. So generous. All right. Mark, how are we looking?
I got 2 people. So
right,
we're
why don't you, you want to pull one of them?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Somebody sent some
Shampoo!
bits. Shampoo coming in with 1,000 bits. Since Mark is mad about lack of drama, ask Kelby about T2 and Gandhi toilet paper.
That's a classic Halo reference
Oh,
right
is it?
there.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's old school. That's like 2005, 2006.
Yeah. We are 120 subs away from my peak, I think. Oh, Meddling Kids is here. Meddling Kids, where are you calling from?
Oh, New York.
New York. Thank you for being a Twitch sub. Is that picture of you on Discord you?
Yeah, that's actually me.
It's very American. What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
So I just want to talk about how the introduction of franchising and the BAMTech deal falling through left organized play with no real direction. The downsizing of broadcasts and international events are part of the fallout of these things. And from my outside perspective, Riot needs to refocus, like for next season with organized play. Some of the things that I really have problems with, it's like if you read the Reddit post from Riot today, they talked about how it was originally, or LCS and organized play was to bring attention to the game, and how that's not really working anymore. But now it's in this weird limbo state where they're talking about it's not making money. So is it not recruiting new players, or like trying to reattract returning players? And I noticed that I was watching TI last week or this weekend, and they had a new player stream, and I saw Riot did that 2 years ago, but that was missing. Are they going for more of an Overwatch League model? In the case of like Jersey Mike's is like a cool sponsor, and so it's owned by HP, but it's like you're competing with like the Toyotas and the Sour Patch Kids, and are you trying to be like more internalized in the league and promote that in that sense? And
sure. So sorry, really quickly. So when you say organized play, can you explain a little bit because that's what I was kind of hung up on. It sounds like you're saying sort of Riot isn't filling, like it. I don't know. I just love for you to hone in a little bit more on what you mean by that.
Oh, so what I mean by organized play is because like the NALCS has its own specific structure, but then there's also like the academy structure, and then of course Worlds itself is also like different. It's not part of the LCS, but it's still part of organized play in general.
Sure.
So, like what are you even trying to accomplish with those things at this point? And I just really think that they need to focus on something, or like get a clear direction out there, or just maybe even scrap the entire model and think like, hey, maybe Worlds itself is a bad idea, and maybe you should just have an LCS for each region and call it a day.
Oh, so are you saying that the NALCS has become such a big focus for North American players, like North American fans and that kind of thing, that Worlds and Academy and all these things kind of fall apart because like NALCS is like too much of it's almost like a behemoth. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm trying to say that. Oh, sorry if I'm not making myself clear. It's like you have this structure, like this idea of NALCS, and it doesn't really accomplish anything. And
right.
I don't understand what they're trying to accomplish at this point. Like, is this product out there to drive new players to the game? I don't know.
I see what you're saying.
Is this product out here to try to get massive sponsors like your Toyotas and Sour Patch Kids like Overwatch League?
What is the goal?
Like originally, originally it was to drive player base and engagement with the title for these players.
So I didn't see that post that you're referencing, Meddling Kids. Did they say that it was that esports did not appear to be good for player acquisition or player retention? or did it not specify?
It did not
Yeah.
specify. It was talking more about how it moved from an attention. Sorry, this is part of the Riot is cutting back budget on esports post.
Right.
Question mark
Right,
on
right.
Reddit. And if you go down, you'll see one of the things talks about how it's no longer about attention, and they need to move from a startup model
Yeah.
into like a revenue generating model.
Yeah. It's now a mature business.
There we go.
Mark. They're no longer in startup
Yeah,
mode.
but that's a different argument than esports doesn't bring people.
Where's sorry, who was the
No,
author
it's-
of this post on that thread?
It's Derek.
Fear Grom.
Isn't it Derek?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Or is it
Fear
Derek?
Reform? Yeah.
Okay.
Grom?
It's weird because I saw his post earlier, but I didn't remember that aspect of it. I guess it's pretty far down. Oh, here we go. Hey, y'all.
I think that was a misrepresentation of the point he's making. He's saying that like for a period of time they didn't care if it ran at a deficit because they just wanted to get the word out that like, hey, we have this fucking league and we're gonna make it hype as balls so people actually want to watch it. And now, this is my understanding of the post. They're saying now that it is at this point, it's no longer about spending money to get people's attention. It's about making this a profitable thing. And I think that's different than the idea of like player acquisition necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, but wouldn't player acquisition in and of itself be profitable for Riot?
I'm more tending to agree with Meddling Kids here. Like Riot has the data, especially to see what kind of purpose the league serves, especially when they're starting out. Like they didn't spend money on advertising; they put all of their money into making LCS as big as possible, and I guarantee, have and track data around player base growth and like uniques and engagement and also spending habits during these events, especially around Worlds peaks.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not saying
Yeah.
I don't disagree with the point. I actually don't
Yeah.
think esports is good for player acquisition. I think it's, if anything, only good for player, or not only good, but it's much better for player
Primarily
retention.
good, yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. I'm just not saying that that's what I got out of that post.
Well, I think that starting out, LCS and World Championships was as League of Legends was growing. Obviously, like its focus is different now and is transitioning, which is what they're talking about in that post, because everybody and their mother has heard about League of Legends and probably tried the game if they're ever going to try it at this point. Whereas, like, you know, back in 2012, 2013, that wasn't the case.
So this is me having some insight that maybe I shouldn't have, but I actually think that claim is largely not true. The name League of Legends, a lot of people do in fact know, but one of the biggest problems that I've heard from some internal data is that when people hear the name League of Legends, they actually don't know what it is. And so this is kind of getting off the topic of esports.
You should be careful, my friend.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that, like, I think while people have heard of League of Legends, a lot of people don't actually know what the game is, and it's not like everyone and their mother has tried League of Legends.
And I was kind of to my original point where it's like I feel like the Riot broadcast doesn't really facilitate for that. Where
Yeah, big agree.
if I'm watching TI, right, I can choose something that says new player stream.
Right.
And even though I've never seen the game before, I understand now what a blink dagger does, even though I had no idea because a little thing pops up and shows me what it does. But if I'm showing the game off to a friend, I'm trying to explain like what Zonia's is, and until you see it, it's like, Jesus, I can't explain it. You like turn golden and nothing hits you. Like that's really hard. And I'd like to see
go ahead.
something more like that.
Yeah, I think by the way, just to echo Mark's thing here, I not to be dismissive of your initial point, Meddling Kids, but in rereading this post by Feargorm, I don't see anything here where they were talking about the goals of esports. Only that in the past they have viewed esports as a startup. That generally speaking, the implication there is that if they're in startup mode, they're less concerned about generating revenue, and they are more concerned about just growth. And that now that they have grown their esport, and that they found a lot of success across a bunch of different areas, that they are now going to, they're now focusing on revenue and trying to break even. But your point is still a very good one,
Yes.
which is, what is the point of LCS?
Yeah.
And in the past, I think a lot of people thought that LCS was about, you know, hey, I watched Doublelift play Vayne this weekend, and that skin is super cool. I want to learn Vayne. I'm going to buy Vayne, and I'm going to buy that skin. And so it's really this is why it gets really murky and really strange anytime Riot starts saying, but the expenses here and the revenue, because how do you determine how much money you are making off of esports via people that are spending stuff on your game? Because in the past, it certainly seemed like that was why you were investing it. It didn't feel like Riot held Season 1 Worlds at DreamHack in 2011 because they hoped that in 2018 they could finally start going out to sponsors and they could get Jersey Mike's to give them some money and whoever else to give them some money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like a lot of what Meddling Kids' points were pretty accurate, or at least interesting. I think the idea of like the league, because to Travis's point, I don't know, and there is some metrics you can obviously track, like, hey, World Finals happens. Did we see an increased play rate of those champions across the world?
Yeah,
probably, and then you can somehow start deriving value from that.
I would argue though that like even during the broadcast like this weekend, I think the point came up about Rise as a champion and how it's a very good pro pick but not a good solo queue pick because it requires so much coordination, and it like really sucks watching.
Yeah, but noobs don't care.
Yeah, yeah, but as a return, yeah, you're right.
I mean, because that argument holds true in literally every esport. There's always strats that are dumb for regular people to try, but they do it anyways because it was flashy and cool. Like, I just think that the point about like tracking the expenditures versus the revenue gained by esports was not a focus for the initial years at all, and now it is, and that's why some of these decisions are being made, regardless of whether or not people are supposed to stomach that is different.
Yeah, here's my problem with that. Meddling Kids, and hopefully I'm not hijacking your point too much, but okay, so Riot says that in the past we've not cared about revenue, and now we are going to care about we're caring about the total cost of this stuff. So we need to make more money, and we need to make it affordable. That's a great noble goal, because I think in esports, behind the scenes, a lot of us talk about, is there a bubble? Are people able to make money off of esports? And especially when you're talking about a world where Riot just got $100 million from 10 different companies or owners or whatever. They should be thinking about this stuff. The problem is that this is like they could have done way more to help monetize their league before we got to this point. Like, if they had done a better job in sponsorship sales, if they'd had as good of a team as seemingly Activision Blizzard had with Overwatch League, if they were able to bring in these deals, and if they were able to think more comprehensively about digital stuff, the Dota just happened, the Compendium, Kelby, what was the total prize pool for the Compendium, or for TI?
Over $25 million.
Okay, and do we know how much of that was raised from the Compendium?
Yeah. Valve takes a 25%, or sorry, Valve takes a 75% cut. So they raised over $100 million.
So Valve doesn't see it's purely funded by the Compendium. The prize pool starts at $1, or does it start at
no, it starts at 1.7.
Okay, so 1.7 million. So they didn't make 75 million because the 1.7 is not.
Right. So they made like 70 or something like that.
So there's a great example, right? For one event. Granted, it's the only event that they really do. Valve was able to make $70 million off of a much smaller player base.
Yeah.
So, there are numerous levers, numerous monetization levers that Riot could have been pulling for years, and they have just not, because they didn't care. And they actually said in the past that they, to paraphrase, the general sentiment that I have gotten from them over the years is that this was not a priority. They even say it was not a priority. The problem is that now it is a priority, and because they haven't focused on it for years, you're kind of fucked right now because you've prioritized this. You're trying to break even, and you can't, because you haven't done any of the groundwork, and this is the first time you're really actually thinking about this stuff. The BAMTech deal was supposed to help with all this stuff. A lot of people said, Travis is a long, boring video talking about the BAMTech deal. It's not even that big of a deal. Well, guess what, guys? I actually think there's
a BAMTech caller.
What's that?
By the way.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance that stuff would have happened had we wouldn't be in the situation if the BAMTech stuff hadn't fallen through. So, There's my
We have another
baseline
call.
rant. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, meddling kids, your general take. I know it tends to go back, but you say that they should refocus.
Mm-hmm.
What would that look like for you in your mind?
I think, I think if you're truly trying to like market and reach out to newer players or players like myself who left the game and then returned recently, to make the streams more focused, I mean, or at least give the option to have streams like that. The second thing is kind of not only reaching out to more sponsors, but reaching out to like I'm sorry, this part's a little hard to articulate.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah, it's a little
Could-
difficult. But my
Could I
entire-
offer my suggestion?
Yes, you do.
here for you?
You know way more. Yes.
No, it's for sure. So I think that probably there's a couple different avenues that could go here, which you could do in combination with each other. If Riot wants to just purely create the best product, the best like viewership esports experience, which is something that is not financially motivated, which they've already essentially explicitly said in this post is no longer the case anymore, but as one of the avenues to explore, then like it's just not something that you need to change, but obviously probably you're not cutting back on this stuff, and you understand that it's just an expense that your company has in order to produce this because you want it to be the biggest thing, whatever. If your goal is to drive further engagement with the player base because you think, you know what, if we create this awesome LCS experience and we have some sort of tie back and it drives people's further engagement with the game, it keeps them around playing longer, it makes them more invested as a player, and we know that as we have a player that plays for this long time, they're more likely to spend money, all this stuff, then they could do something, I think, as Travis said, along the lines of a compendium or Riot's take on it. It doesn't have to be a cop-off. Some sort of integration that ties my viewership experience of the LCS into the game where I'm rewarded or some way, or there's just some sort of engagement metric that comes back to League of Legends. And then I have that path for monetization forward because, look, we can go back to the company and say, we're driving engagement in the player base and stuff. If you are going like, hey, we need this to be somewhere near breaking even or profitable, the easiest route without diverting internal production resources, because the big hurdle, obviously, with doing the compendium thing is like you take people away from making skins to do this Riot esports initiative, and it's a different group, right? It's not a part of like Riot Games proper. Then you need to take a different approach with how you're doing traditional sponsorships, because we know that there hasn't been any success, especially sustained in that regard to this point. There's
You're
obviously
saying,
a ton
sorry,
of
to
brand
breaking
interest.
down, or we're losing you a little bit where this is, I feel like it's feeling more like a meeting with a brand than you're saying. Basically, Riot has not had success in the sponsorships department, or at least extended success, where like we've seen them sponsors pop up here and there, but they don't always stick around. Maybe Acer being the most the exception to that rule.
I'm just saying, depending on those three different avenues that I said, which would be objectives for League esports as a group, whether it's creating the coolest product, driving further engagement with the player base, or just getting as close to profitability as possible, those are the three areas that you could specifically focus on. Yeah.
Hey, Madeline Kids, thank you so much for your call. I think we're going to keep talking about this subject. I'm sure we've got some more callers, but I do really want to appreciate you, or thank you for kicking it off and for really honing in that idea of like maybe what is the point of the NALCS and Riot's esports approach in general.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Sorry it started out so rough.
No, it was good.
No,
It was
you're
good.
fine.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, Mark, before we move on to the next caller.
Yeah, dude, I wouldn't want to get through more than one caller in an hour.
Well, we do have, unlike Riot, we have support of a wonderful partner.
Gafford sales team coming up.
Yeah. Listen. Here at Hotline League, here at Travis Gafford Industries,
Do you know how many keyboards I've got from Riot?
We value our partners tremendously. They help send us. they power our LA broadcast studio that all of our talent broadcasts out of, and allows us to have Kelby May come in remotely from San Francisco.
Our campus spreads across the entire West Coast.
Yeah,
exactly. A massive campus.
I'm talking about Omen by HP, everyone. Thank you so much to Omen by HP for their support of Hotline League. They've been supporting for quite some time. Started talking to them just before Worlds of last year about coming in and helping us out. They hooked us up with some gear at the time, and then later on became a more formal sponsor of the show. I've got it's non-powered right now, but this is all Omen by HP. Gear behind me helping to make. This is like a production setup where a producer can come in, they can shoot. All this stuff is being broadcast off of Owen by HP hardware. They are somewhat new to the gaming space in terms of total years, but they've been doing some really cool stuff during that time. Things like sponsoring Overwatch League, sponsoring CLG. They announced a partnership with Cloud9 recently. They do something called Omen Squad, which is their support of grassroots streamers. And then obviously they support the work that we do here on Hotline League. So if you appreciate them, because again, it is really important. Like without sponsors and partners, I would be destitute. So if you can go follow them on Twitter, I put a link to them in the Twitch chat just now. You can check them out on YouTube. If you're watching the VOD of this, you can just click in the description. Just give them a shout out. Say thanks to them for their support. And thank you so much to Hotline League once more, or sorry, to Omen by HP once more for sponsoring Hotline League. Does Omen sell printers? Brett0727 does. Asks, I don't think that they have any gaming branded printers yet. I don't know if they're working on it, but that would be cool. But HP sells printers, I believe, so you can check that out. All right, back to the next caller. You ready, Mark? Did we lose you? You're muted. Okay, he just left. All right, where were we on the shoutouts? Nbell9163, Mr. Boom, Araldios, Boba Color gifted us up to Red Dragon, Exuria, Coco Sanchez, Michael Spaz, 7 subbed, and Demon Spike 21, and then Masked Chamo sent $10 in directly. We've got Sam Goes Ham on the line right now. Sam Goes Ham, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. And will you be going ham on the show tonight?
Of course.
Okay, good. Looking forward to it. What do you got for us?
So I wanted to talk about how TSM might be lacking this year because their Fortnite team's blowing up. It seems like the organization's kind of, I don't know, TSM's never been really focused on like another game really hard, and it looks like they're putting a lot of resources, I guess, into their Fortnite team. Rightfully so, though. Like, I was like looking at their YouTube views just because I've been following it this year as it's been blowing up. Like, if you look at any of their Fortnite videos, they're usually like almost doubling, or most of the ones like involving like the team are like all in the millions. And I don't know, I think it's like this is because it seems like their Fortnite team kind of like represents kind of what made TSM what they are today, like being that they're all friends. And yeah, like, and two, it also seems like what was I gonna say? Sorry about that. But it seems like Reggie, I guess, isn't as worried about I don't know. It seems like he's just not as worried about the league team in general, just because he kind of has the Fortnite team to fall back on. That could be due to franchising too, but yeah, that's just kind of the take I got looking from like the outside perspective of it.
Twitch chat. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
No, you go first because it sounds like
I was gonna say Twitch chat is blowing up because you mentioned Fortnite, and now don't look at it. Don't look at it, Sam, because they are going.
That's all good.
Unless you're a masochist,
but
go for it.
Like Twitch chat hears Fortnite and they're like, "Ah, this is about League of Legends." I don't. This is not. But I think your point is a good. It's a good question, which is to ask: is TSM suffering because for the first time in quite some time, they as an organization have a strong concerted effort around another title in the esports space, and is that distracting them? Is Reggie perhaps spending too much time?
Did you not see Reggie out there in the post game, like between game shots, still coaching it up with Parth and Weldon and everyone? They're got like
but we haven't seen Reggie in those shots before now, right, Mark?
Yeah, I think he's been around a little bit.
I mean, I've seen him at LCS. I'm not trying to just.
He's definitely been less involved, and I'm pretty sure TSM was making a concerted effort to not let him go like full coach mode. But I think not shouldn't say not let him, but like to allow him to step away. Like they don't want to have to rely on him. So I think he's more involved again come playoffs, of course, but I don't think he was like completely separated.
It kind of seems like Parse the new Reggie, because like I just get the out perspective, right? So I pretty much just see what happens on Legends and then whatever happens on LCS. But yeah, like I'm used to seeing Reggie like talking to the team like in between games. He's even like seems like he's talking about like strategy stuff to the team, and like I don't know, it seems like he'll like put his back up against the wall to help the team out, and it just seems like that same effort from him hasn't been there this split or even this whole year in general.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting question. By the way, Mark, your Mickey story is now trending on Reddit.
Yeah, I saw it. I commented pretty quickly in there.
Okay. Okay. I don't know, Kelby. You're the only one of us that used to run an organization, mostly into the ground. But what did you what did you think, or what do you think of this? Because TSM is a small organization, right? Like Team Liquid, for instance. I bet you Team Liquid probably has like 5, 6, 7 times the amount of staff that TSM has, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
But that might mean that whenever TSM actually has like a really big success and really blows up in one of these organizations, it's a fair question to ask, like, how much does that split their resources?
Yeah, for sure. I personally, like, we've talked before about how, at least I personally believe that Reggie has been really, really important to the league's team's sustained success over time, especially with how consistent they've been. Because I think of anybody else, even like George, as a former like pro player, he like stayed so in touch with the team and was essentially that coach, as Sam identified, throughout the process whenever things like get rough and stuff. I know that he's really, really into Fortnite, and spends a lot of time focused on it. So yeah, it probably like can have an effect and an elongating period on maybe like downward trends for the league team as far as performance. But I don't think otherwise, from like a resources perspective, that the League of Legends team doesn't get the support that they need. You know, it's really just like if Reggie is there with them or not. And long term, like it's obviously not sustainable for your CEO and founder to have to always be babysitting your team. And I don't think that squad really needs it either. Like they're super capable. I think that the roster's lack of success this split is probably just more due to things outside of that. It's just like, you know, with Reggie around, and if he's like supremely focused on that as well, it gets you through your little dips quicker, because he is a former pro, so experienced, has all that knowledge, and it really, really helps in running a team competitively when you have somebody who's like the outside perspective that can help you guys like see through stuff and like refocus or identify what needs to be fixed.
Yeah, I would say I think it's less about if they would be affected by anything, it would be less about performance and be more about like how are we going to strategically use our League of Legends business in an interesting way. Like Kelby is probably right in that there's a little bit, but I don't think that if Fortnite didn't exist, I'm not sure TSM would be number 1 in the league or number 2 in the league now.
Gotcha.
Mark, you're laughing about something.
I saw Nero in chat say, "How come TSM has been tweeting about their academy stuff like that? I haven't seen in forever."
How come TSM what? Sorry,
you're cutting out a little.
How come TSM hasn't been tweeting about their academy team? I feel like I haven't seen it in forever, and I'm just laughing at that because their academy team sucks. It was just funny. I don't know if Nero was trolling or not, but
well, TSM historically has not been great about promoting all of their game divisions. CS:GO subreddit used to complain about it a lot. Yep. The H1Z1 subreddit has complained about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not their strongest suit.
But they don't have that issue with Fortnite.
Well, I mean, they're doing a really good job supporting Fortnite.
Yeah.
I pretty much agree with everything Kelby said. Like, maybe Reggie not being there contributes a little bit, but on the scale of where TSM is at compared to where we thought they would be, I would not think that takes up a very significant portion of their problems.
Yeah. Hey, I want to thank you so much, Sam Goes Ham, for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for bringing me in, guys.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And hopefully the ham keeps going.
I'll try to.
Thank you for that laugh. I needed it.
Yeah, that was a heroic effort on that laugh.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
He was
By the
really
way,
doing
Mark,
his
one
fault
thing
there.
I forgot we did miss out on is the all team, the NALCS all team got announced. We didn't even mention that.
Too.
Did you see that, Kelby? Do you see who won?
Was it Peter?
Yeah, well, Peter is
Well,
in the
5 people win technically. So he was,
double lift is,
and he also had the most votes. So I guess in that sense, he did technically win.
No, you know
Yo,
who
boy.
won? You know who won? There was one man on the show who correctly voted for all the people that were in the All-Star team lineup. And that's me.
The all team lineup?
Yeah. My number one all team became
Nice.
the number one all team.
Nice. Were you the only person who correctly guessed all of the all
Freak
I think
and
everyone-
Arthur also did.
Okay. But
I was
still,
one
3
off.
out
I
of
think
how
it was-
many voters?
3 out of like 30 or something. It's a shit ton.
Damn. So you're top
10%.
yeah, for sure.
I think I have one. I think my support was different. The others were the same.
Yeah, I got the script leaked
Yeah, well, we leaked a lot of the script
on
that
the
countdown.
show. Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
see any of that, Kelby, for the countdown? You were probably traveling back from Vancouver.
Yeah, no.
They do some really good stuff.
You want to come on the desk, Travis, and do some analysis for us?
Yeah.
We get all these pro players on to help with their like brand and exposure, but if anyone really needs help, it's Travis. So maybe we should get him on the countdown.
Yeah.
I would happily come on the countdown or the dive or any of that stuff.
I would love to pitch.
I can't get paid, but
I was going to say I don't think we'll pay you, but I would love
No,
to pitch a
I can't take
rumor
payment.
mill.
Riot doesn't have money to pay you anyways.
yeah, a rumor mill segment would be
I want to do a rumor mill segment. Travis isn't worth the money, even if I had the money, of course. So
yeah.
we're paying him an exposure.
That's fine. I just like hanging out with you guys, so if I can do that, it'd be fun. Or replacing Dash or something. You guys have killed off all the different people. Like, me and Ovly take over the desk. There's a whole lot of segments there that I like. But, again, we're hosting a show right now where I'm really angry at Riot's decision and very vocal about that. So
This is how we slowly win him back over.
It's-
Like, hey, Travis, let me distract you with this offer to come on the
hey,
countdown.
a broadcast team, you know how Travis was publicly tweeting about how Overwatch League was kicking your ass? Well, why don't we have him on the show? All right, maybe we should grab. Speaking of on the show, maybe we grab the next person. Train Kate subbed. I am the head collector. Danny Nukes, Synapsis Man, J Elk, Jovan the King, Mellow Jello 100, Carl Fredrickson, Krieg, Mogar 505. These are several hosts. They don't count. Rice 81, Kalimi Proto for 6 months. Thank you for that. And Age Res 3. We've got Tic Tac Toe Ninja, who I believe subbed early. Did I shout you out earlier?
3 month, yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Okay, thank you for the 3 months. This is your first time on the show?
It is my second time.
Second time on the show. I'm sorry that I.
That's right. It was during Rift Rivals.
Yeah, if you had been 6 months, I would have remembered. So let's talk. Where are you calling from? By the way?
Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. Okay. Yeah, we do get a lot of Florida people calling in. What would you like to talk about on the show tonight?
Well, first, I think it's important that I would think Omen HP is blessed to have you
Thank you.
because I purchased a product of theirs because of you.
Oh,
This
thank you.
amazing
Clip it.
sequencing keyboard. This keyboard, industry's leading optical mechanical switch technology, just built for gamers. Amazing. But I
Okay.
digress.
Are you reading off the back of something?
Yeah, I
was like, that's
on
pretty
the
good.
box?
He
I think it was on
remembers
my
the
bot.
marketing language for that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I believe that is their new keyboard that came out. So yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Came out I think a couple weeks ago. So thank you for your purchase. And if anybody in Twitch chat can please clip it. They never clip it, and I have to go back and find it.
Oh,
Okay,
Wah.
listen,
life is rough.
Twitch chat is both my audio people, and they also help me with my deliverables. So
Don't you have
and-
an agent who can go back and do that for you for monthly reporting? What a lazy son of a bitch.
And not only does Travis use Twitch chat to do work for him, he also gets paid by them. He's getting paid to use them.
You might call me a tic-tac-toe ninja the way I'm
This
playing
is some
this
kind
game.
of money laundering scheme. Which way is the money flowing here?
Mark,
Sorry.
you get paid by me, so maybe you stop talking right now. Tic-tac-toe ninja, what do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
So a very controversial topic, I'm pretty sure. But my topic was, I think TSM, as Double has stated very boldly, is definitely boosted. And they only made it out, I believe, is because Echo Fox's lack of precision. I think they'll go C9 will go 3-0 against them.
Gillette
And I
ad
think
now?
it's because I think Bjergsen can't 1v9 against C9 personally.
Okay. So Echo Fox sucks, which is why TSM got out, is what you're saying.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So what makes you say this? Maybe you can provide some additional context.
I think just watching the game, like a lot of those dives that they did, I think it was maybe even the last game, Darduck was so far ahead in the jungle, getting both scuttles, etc. I'm not too familiar in the jungle, but I remember obviously they're talking about on the desk. And it's like they had such a good jungle lead. And I think they had the first blood, 2 kills or something at outplays, and they were throwing with the dives. I can't recall the 5th game, but I just feel like they had it in the pocket in the early game, and they just went downhill with some stupid stuff. So it's like you take C9, in my opinion. I don't know. Like, I feel like they are a little bit more. They won't make those same mistakes. And I think Sneaky and Zazel would do, like, they would shit on their bottom lane like Doublelift did in their last match of the season against TL.
So I'm going back over the match histories to make sure. They like Echo Fox had most of the time around 15 minutes on average, like a 2K gold lead, and then would kind of throw.
Mm-hmm.
And they would go more or less. The 5th game was the only one that they didn't have the gold lead, but it was still like a pretty back and forth game. And I think that's why a lot of people are kind of looking at that series and going like, TSM, despite advancing, was not very convincing. Because like they basically won that series by punishing Echo Fox when they messed up.
And that's just my thing.
Yeah. I think a lot of people had a similar sentiment walking away from that series, even like amongst the analysts that I was in conversation with, that they were like, yeah, TSM won, but like they really need to kick it up a notch to have a chance for C9, because C9 is a really good early game team, kind of like Echo Fox, and like you said, they're probably cleaner from then on. So I don't think if TSM play at that level again, I don't think that they have a very high chance at all to get out to finals.
We've got Anero in the Twitch chat, former Echo Fox coach, who says, "Hey, you shut your mouth, buddy. Echo Fox are the best team in the world, and not a single team is better than them. They chose to go to Game 5 to leak as many drafts as possible for other teams to use versus TSM, and then they're going to make the gauntlet run undefeated." So,
you know what? If that's the case, I applaud them because I'm a TL fan.
Yeah, and it became a copy pasta that the entire Twitch chat is now spamming. So,
so Anero, clue me in on this. So you go to 5 games to see as much as you can for other people. Gotcha. Why'd you lose Game 5? Because you could have just beat him in Game 5.
Well, he needed more drafts.
But there's
it was paid by Steve.
There's no more drafts to see.
Yeah. Once you see the draft, you can still win the game unless you're trash.
You're asking a lot of questions that I don't think we need to go.
Just kidding. You're not trash
into
a professional League of Legends game.
So, but TSM is improving pretty dramatically, right, Mark?
Or well, from like being the 7th place team, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a good chance that
like week 6 or 7.
If they're really turning it on for playoffs, we see them at a level to beat Cloud9 this week, right?
Maybe. I mean, it's a tall ask because I think the matchup isn't great either. Like even like assuming both teams are playing well, right? Which isn't always the case. Maybe TSM plays bad or well and C9 plays bad. This doesn't matter. But I think it's a really weird matchup where Sven and Mithy, for the most part, play relatively defensive, and they want to try and get their advantages in the top or the mid lane for the most part, and that's where Greg spends most of his resources, time, and stuff like that. But what's weird is that's also where C9 is the strongest as well. Like Licorice is top 2 top laner easily. Jensen and Blabber have been hulking out together, and then your bot lane mostly looks to go even. And if they can win, great, but they're not like picking matchups to do that or really playing to do that either. So it just doesn't feel like, even if TSM was playing well, a good matchup.
Yeah.
But with that said, like, it seems like when TSM won a match, it was Bjergsen carrying the game. And if he can't do that, do you even see, I don't know, I just don't see the other TSM members playing up to par against C9 just overall, is why I just think C9 would go 3-0 against them. Even the MVP, your tier list, was it only Bjergsen from TSM on there?
I don't think I'm supposed to talk about my MVP list, but I will say I had for all pro voting, which is out. I had Sven as my second best AD carry,
Okay,
and
that's
Bjergsen
right.
as my third best mid laner, and I think those were my only TSM players.
Gotcha.
But I also wasn't one of the people who had C9 on everywhere between first and second team, like some fucking bandwagon people.
Oh, you didn't have Jensen and
No. I so through the actual voted all pro team,
Yeah.
like Zazel was the second best support. With Jensen, it was Sneaky the second best marksman, and I think Blabber was either the second or third team jungler, and then like Jensen and like Licorice were in there as well. Like Jensen was first team. I think Licorice was second team.
Yeah. So you're saying
Yeah.
all of the Cloud9 members landed between Team 1 and Team 2.
I think team 1 and team 3, but either way, like I don't think they're like that's a little bit of a reach for me. I don't think they're that god tier.
Recency bias.
Oh, Blabber was the only one not on any. Okay.
Poor kid. All right. Well, thank you so much
Unlucky.
for your call, Tic Tac Toe Ninja. We'll find out if you're right and TSM is boosted this weekend.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a good one. All right. Moving on to the next caller. We've got Sport CTC, who resub for 7 months. A lot of you guys have been around for a while. Rathacon gifted a sub to Ovally, a Narrow LL resub for 7 months. Ty Mixer, Ryumus underrated.
Here's the Kelby's favorite caller for the night.
Luna Bumblebee Tuna.
Yeah, I know. He's got an Omega Lol profile icon.
Horizon is on the call. Horizon, where are you calling from?
From Chile.
From Chile.
Nice.
Hey, great to have you on. Have you been on before?
No, never.
Okay, nice. I think we've had another Chilean caller before, but it's great to hear from you. What time is it there?
1 a.m.
1 a.m. Okay, well, thank you for being up this late. What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
Well, I want to talk about like how I think that Riot not having the casting talent on site is a disgrace for the scene, especially when you compare it to TI8. Not only that, but I also think that people saying that that's okay have no idea what this means for the scene and the owners.
Okay, what does it mean for the scene and the owners?
I mean, I'm not saying like, oh my god, League is dying, but I think if you're an owner, especially, let's say like Nature, and you're seeing, okay, I paid 13 million to get in LCS, and now I'm seeing Riot not paying to have the casting talent on Korea, and they're like, why didn't I go to Overwatch League? Then I see the sponsorships, and I think the same. Then I see the prize pool from TI, and I think, well, maybe I choose wrong, you know?
Yeah. Well, the news is they could not get into Dota, unfortunately. So even if they see the prize pool, I think that's a place for them to be disappointed. But it's not like there's a Dota franchise league. But I don't know. Should we let Kelby just do his thing, and then we can actually have a conversation about this?
Before the Kelby rant, I
Okay.
just want to ask. I don't know what it is about Chilean callers just having like great impassioned points. I just don't know like what it is that like why do you think Horizon that like it feels like other Latin American callers too. Like what is it about them that like you guys just have such great points?
Passionate about esports, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, like, because I'm from Chile and I'm an NA fan, it hurts even more because I'm from a wildcard region and it already sucks here. So seeing it suck everywhere else is like, okay.
Okay, indeed, yes.
I think it comes down to food. Like Americans are really lazy.
All right, whatever. Let's not get into this. Is borderline offensive. Kelby, what is your take? You've been thinking about this.
Yeah, well, so I think I'm probably going to take a slightly different perspective on it than you guys might have. And like, I don't want to just do like a rant thing. So like, feel free, because I could just talk forever about stuff.
Sure.
I'm kind of most concerned about the dialogue that's been going on here with franchising, because I think that Horizon is right. The team owner's perspective is very, very curious to me. It's evident now to all of us, and through the post that happened tonight on the subreddit, that Riot is taking a more fiscally responsible, let's say, approach to how they're operating their esports business. Why is this change happening now, especially after the teams just bought in $10 million apiece into franchising? Because that's an influx of revenue that they hadn't had up to this point. And certainly when you have people committing long-term to the success of this, and everybody wants to get their money back, right? That's why they're here. They're not just doing it as like a charity donation. Like, you know, they see some business interest in this. It seems like a very, very weird and unfortunate time for these team owners that Riot starts scaling back on things and putting less investment into the space. They're reducing costs, as they said, without, as we've seen, any significant increase in revenue.
So Kelby, what if the answer is, well, of course we're going to be more fiscally responsible. We just got 10 new partners. We need to make these guys money. And if we keep spending money like we have in the past, there's no profit to share with them, and they're going to be dissatisfied.
Yeah, for sure. So are they set up on a profit share model or a revenue share model? Because obviously that would affect things, right? As far as what you're looking for. And Can you explain? Because
I think a lot of people won't understand the...
Right. So if you're on a revenue share model, then it's in the team's interest for Riot to not scale back these things and to keep them the way that they are so that the property is more attractive to drive more revenue to the league. If you're on a profit share model, then yes, that argument can be made that in scaling back our costs, we get closer to break even because we're spending right now more than we're making. So cutting back on costs is actually more important to you getting a cut of something, as opposed to a revenue share model where in the team's best interest, maybe not in Riot's profitability interest, you know, like the teams would just want things to stay as big as possible so that there's more sponsor money. But the thing is, Travis, is that trying to be fiscally responsible, like you need to generate some revenue to go along with this cutting of costs, which we just haven't seen anything of to this point. And I'm curious and have expressed many times on this show my disappointment with their seemingly lack of effort in trying to do anything to garner revenue. The BAMTech deal was a complete failure. Twitch was an apparent and ready partner that went to Overwatch, did this really awesome thing that's making the money, is they're paying a shit ton to Activision Blizzard for it, that Riot passed on, and they're not doing anything in sponsorships. I can promise you, considering my job is sponsorship sales in this industry, that Riot has a very, very attractive inventory to brands that would love to be sponsors of this property in the space. It's not like Overwatch, which had zero broadcast history up to this point, was able to go out and evangelize so much better to these brands that they were like, you know what? We've heard this pitch from Riot before, and we didn't really get it. But now, Overwatch League, we think this is our entry point into sponsoring esports leagues. No. Riot has had these opportunities to generate revenue around their league, and they've had them for a very, very long time. And you have a history built out, you have narratives, you have identified properties, star players with much greater reach and social followings than what you see in Overwatch, and you're not making any effort to get it done. It doesn't exist. So if you are now, as you've stated publicly, focusing on running a more fiscally responsible property, why aren't you trying to generate any revenue? Why are you just cutting costs? Because as a team owner, if I was still a team owner in the LCS, that would really piss me off. I don't know what the communications have been like between Riot and the team owners about this, but what's going on? What's the plan?
To chime in slightly, the assumption that Riot is not attempting to generate more revenue as opposed to just cutting costs probably isn't true. But
where is it then, Mark?
The success
it's not hard to go out and sell these deals. You have very attractive inventory, as I've identified. I know for a fact that
attempt are different. Yeah.
I know for a fact that there are brands that have tried and want to sponsor LCS very badly. They have these opportunities. I don't know what the holdup is for them as far as why they don't want this money, but Overwatch League is doing it. Why is Overwatch League doing it and Riot isn't?
That I cannot answer you. I just was only chiming in that this statement that they're not trying is probably not right, but the fact that there's a complete it was a slaughter in terms of like sponsorships.
So, if they're trying but failing that poorly, and Overwatch League is having that success with a weaker inventory, then you have gross incompetence going on. I could sell LCS super fucking easily. I'm not like amazing in the space. I'm pretty good at my job, but it would not be hard for me to get considerable revenue generated for LCS. There has to be some sort of internal barrier or mandate that is keeping them from selling this property to brands, as far as what they're willing to do on the deliverable side, the budget amounts that they're looking for. Something is holding them back. There are people that want to give Riot money. It has been the #1 esports property in the world for a really, really long period of time. It's not hard to sell that shit. It's really easy. So what's the problem? I want to know.
You're asking the wrong guy. I just sit in front of the camera.
I mean, I think there's a couple things here. One was this was clearly not these are not excuses, but I think the explanation would be that this has not been a priority for Riot. That Activision Blizzard probably had a much stronger sales team go to market, and probably were much more willing to make compromises on the broadcast. I mean, when you go to, not just in the broadcast, but in the experience, when you go to Overwatch League, I've heard that there's a guy who yells about Sour Patch Kids and gives people out Sour Patch Kids. I think that's totally acceptable, but Riot, who has been obsessed with player experience, and sometimes to their detriment, probably in this case, they probably are reticent to do that. And it comes probably from Overwatch League was spearheaded so much, we all know, by Bobby Kotick, who's the CEO and sees this as, and Overwatch League exists because he saw this as a major source of revenue in the future, right? Like, we can make money off of video games, but we can also turn our video game IPs into this source of revenue in all these other different areas. And the rumor is that they'll come out with series and all this stuff, but that sports, being able to build your own sport, is a huge opportunity for them. And so for right out the gate, this was not like a feature that Blizzard was trying to build or Activision Blizzard was trying to build. This was like a franchise sports league that generates money. And my frustration is that Riot, I think for a while, has known that that was the direction they needed to head, but they didn't pivot fast enough in the sales and monetization efforts. I don't know if that's because they had more faith in BAMTech apparently and I know we've got a BAMTech caller coming, but I don't know if that's because they had more faith in BAMTech's ability to sell this stuff.
I already had the BAMTech caller, so I don't know if he disappeared or what. So
okay.
Just for now, whatever.
Yep. So I don't know if they felt, sorry, Twitch chat blowing up. I don't know if they just had all their eggs in that basket, and if it fell through for reasons we will probably never know, and that's what happened. But it is certainly disheartening now to see them make the argument of we need to save money because we're revenue oriented, and they don't have this. And by the way, Kelby, like you mentioned all of this from a sponsorship perspective.
Yeah.
But it ignores the very immediate and obvious way to monetize this, which is through deepening the revenue streams that they already have with their digital property.
One potential avenue.
Yeah, sponsorships is one option. They can like battle passes. I think are like I play Fortnite. You know, Twitch chat. They're all gonna get angry when I say that. I play Fortnite. I buy the battle pass. I bought 2. All right, I bought 2 battle passes. Twitch.
Yeah.
Chat. All right, you can yell at me about it. But they're like a great monetization strategy.
Yeah.
And I could totally see a worlds-themed battle pass. Now, maybe they're planning on making that stuff, but it is frustrating when...
Like the compendium?
Yeah, whatever. Kelby, you mentioned something, I think, earlier before the show started. We were talking in the Skype chat, and I don't think that this... But one thing that you pointed out is that Riot is no longer leading in the space. We've lost Mark. Riot is no longer leading in the space in this category, right? In terms of innovating in the esports space. And it sucks to see them... Because I'm a big fan of their esports team. I'm a big fan of what they do. And I think these people are actually, like, they do really care. They want to do amazing stuff. And I know that it's easy to criticize them, but I actually do think that they are trying hard. It's so frustrating to see them fall behind in so many different areas. In the digital space, for monetization options, for sponsorships, etc. It's just very frustrating.
Yeah. One thing I will say is that, so for all of the people responsible for putting these things on at Riot, none of this is any of their fault. Nobody on the production team or I would say with like 95% confidence, nobody on the production team or the event side or anybody like comes into like end of the year recap meetings and is like, you know what, next year I'd like to do less.
Except for Mark, maybe.
I want to be responsible for less. You know, we want to do it less cool. Like I very firmly believe in my time with working at Riot, or not at Riot, with Riot, that there are a ton of people still in the organization that I really, really like, and they want to do cool shit. Like that company doesn't get where it's at if you don't care about stuff. But it certainly feeds into the larger narrative about the profitability of the game and what the ownership of Riot Games, the company who ultimately is responsible for writing the checks now, is mandating down. It's like, hey, this is a really big expense for us. And your game, if this is pure inference, but this is certainly what it feels like, because otherwise, why do they change any of this? You know? None of these people just like decide to scale it back for no reason. If you have the money, they'll spend the money to do it right. But it certainly feeds into the narrative that, like, you know, this game isn't performing super well, and you're on the track to run a deficit. Like, we need to scale back costs and start thinking more as a sustainable business instead of a startup, which is directly referenced in this post.
Yeah. Well, listen. We have a Chilean caller on the line right now. Horizon. I don't know. We've been ranting for a little bit, but what do you think about all this stuff? I know you mentioned it's a disgrace. You think team owners should be concerned. I don't know. What would you like to see change?
I mean, I don't know actually what needs to be changed because that's not my job. But from
that's a good answer, by the way. That's always my answer.
But from the player side of things, I actually love this game, you know, and I love the competitive scene, and it's sad to see it scale down. I don't know, maybe it's like actually a good choice, or like it's economically responsible, but I don't know, it doesn't bring me hype, it doesn't make me happy for the future of LoL, but I don't know.
Hey,
yeah, I think
go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, this is after that long rant where I had to disappear for a little bit. Hopefully,
you can't be seen on screen with Kelby.
Yeah, hopefully I'll still be alive for Worlds, everybody. Well,
Vedia's cleared a spot for you today, so I think you're good.
Jesus,
I gotta start watching European games. Fuck that, I'll go home. But I think that's what Horizon said at the very end. I think, you know, how I feel about it for the most part is like, maybe it is fiscally responsible. To Kelby's point, there's probably a lot more that could have been done in previous years and stuff like that. And even to this day, maybe there's definitely more that can be being done. And so even if this is the right thing for them to be doing in the new franchise model and everything, it still feels fucking bad for a fan. And there's no way to sell this to a fan and not have it taste bad.
Yep. Especially when your fans are aware of your, you know, lack of people have been saying where are the sponsors for years, myself included, but also just like random Reddit threads and stuff. Like, this has been a conversation for a long time. I just want to echo what Horizon said a second ago, by the way, which is a great point. Like, I think look, I'm sure if somebody from Riot is watching this, or if they watch the VOD, like they'll have already turned it off by the point in time when Kelby said that he could sell LCS better than they have. But
Wait, why would you be upset at that?
I'm not saying. I'm just. It's a funny remark. Don't worry, Kelby.
Yeah,
it's a safe place. I was just gonna say, but this is all like these conversations occur and these opinions occur because, like, I love this game. I love the scene around it. Like, all my friends that I hang out with on a daily basis are attached to this thing in some way or another. And more broadly, even the people that aren't directly attached, they're part of the esports scene, right? And I believe that Riot can do this stuff. And beyond my belief in them, I feel like they have a responsibility to, because they are a trailblazer within the esports industry. They were the first to do this. And I think that they're falling behind. And I think if they slip, you know, they're going to make it harder for everyone. Like, I want to keep working in esports for the next 10 to 20 years. And so I need not just them. Like, I levied a shit ton of criticism against Overwatch League. I still don't think that their next franchise slots are worth 35 million or 40 or 100 million or whatever bajillion dollars they're asking for now. I'm frustrated that Valve doesn't do enough to support their games, in my opinion. But I'm also frustrated that Riot is failing here. And I think that, you know, I think it's important for everyone to make smart decisions for the industry to move forward, because Horizon is a fan of League of Legends and League of Legends esports. He wants to be excited about this stuff, and it's hard to be excited about this, and it's also really hard whenever it just looks like there's just a fuck up that's led us to this point. So I don't know. I think we probably talked about it, but do you have anything else you want to say, Horizon?
I mean, one last point is that even though I don't think that Overwatch League, I don't like Overwatch. I like the game. I don't like watching it. But even though I don't think that the next spots are worth that much, they're doing things better than Riot. And Riot had a head start like 4 years ago. So I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of disheartening to see that Riot is falling behind.
Yep. And I hope that they feel disheartened too. That's the last thing I'll say on this. I don't know if we have another caller, but the last thing I want to say is there was never any ownership in the post that came out today about their failure to monetize. That's what worries me the most, is that whenever stuff like this happens, it's always like, well, this was all part of the plan. And if it was part of the plan, that's worrying to me. But if you fucked up and you didn't handle monetization the way you should have, and you didn't take it seriously, and you're willing to come out and say, this is an area where we failed and we need to get better and we're doubling down, like, those statements would give me more faith. But statements that kind of pretend like it was always the plan to not have the English broadcast out of Korea this year, like years ago, like it was on some sort of long-term goal chart, it sucks. Thanks so much, Horizon, for your call.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
Yeah, really appreciate you calling in.
The final depressing capper on all that, of course, is that every empire crumbles. So,
No.
This in a lot of ways is inevitable.
Listen, Mark, we don't need to make this about the U.S. All right,
that wasn't about the U.S. That's just about life, dude.
Yeah,
we were Alexander the Great as League Esports for a little while, and then it got broken up into 3 kingdoms between his sons. I don't really know how that translates metaphorically to the situation, but either way, whatever happens.
My father will break up his kingdom among me and my 2 brothers, and
so you would give part of your kingdom to Doublelift and Kelby, probably, right? And who else?
I would give none of it to Peter, because that would descend into anarchy really quick.
He's the worst.
I made the first
Caesar.
cut.
Yeah.
I almost am jumping timelines here again.
I don't know who I'd give the other one to. I'd give the other one to Reddit and just see what happens. Let's
Papa Reddit.
Yeah. MacD Shifty has subbed Veclor24 for 2 months.
You could give it to the shot caller. They want to take everything else of yours.
Kalito 1, Black Endred 9, Bulbacola gifted a sub to DeRay. Event Nexus resub for 7 months. Matt Com sent 500 bits. Denny Nukes reset for 4 months. The point of LCS and Pro League is to see a game people play at the highest level. Good Night Nurse 24, Mr. Papia, Big Wraith, Chief Jelly Belly, Meddling Kids, Atari Legend, and still got a couple more. Boba Cola gift of sub to Risen Lazarus, Polish
I see
reset
back
for 6
going
months.
crazy with Kelby. What happened?
What happened?
What did Kelby say?
Kelby was making fun of a esports organization that has been heavily influenced by my work. Chewbacca 101. Where are you calling from? Maybe a galaxy far away?
No, I'm calling from Harrisburg in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania. What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
I want to talk about how if TSM beats C9, that they'll go on and beat whoever they have to play in finals.
If TSM beats C9, they will go on to beat whoever else. Okay, so this is the opposite of the guy who called in and said that they were boosted.
Yep.
Okay. Why do you think that this is the case?
I think TSM is just overall better than C9. I think they have better players in general, not Grig, and not like their bot lane tends to like not set up. But like if
You just mentioned 3/5 of the team, by the way.
well, like when the bot lane
Kelby's had
up-
it. I have to warn you. You have to be careful around Kelby right now, Chewbacca. He's
Okay.
he's
Travis,
a little
you
riled up.
did this. He was riled up, and then you prodded him by mentioning the whole the comment about selling LCS. Now he's just on fire.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Just be careful, Chewbacca. So
You're fine. You're fine. I'm just making an
He's
observation.
gonna assign you an essay.
When Sven and Mithy can actually like step up, I think that's when TSM's like at their best. It's like all in the bot lane is my like opinion. Like I think Grig is probably like a lost cause. Like he's not like bad, but like he's going to be like the weakest link, and like he might just get bullied by Blabber and whoever. But like Brixton's like, I think Brixton's just better than Jensen. Like if we go back, like the last time C9 beat TSM in any best of 5 was spring 2014 playoffs. And like some people don't like history because like people like everyone's changed. But, like history is like important. I think it's like a good like storyline and stuff. And I think like TSM like Haunter is really good. Like he's probably like my favorite top lane, but I'm super biased. Like so whatever.
Chewbacca, do you think then if C9 were to beat TSM that C9 will also win the split? Do you just think that this half is better?
Yeah. I think TL is probably having like a weaker end. I think this is probably like going to be whoever wins. This is probably like the real finals.
So to your point, I think I did some more thinking after the previous caller who said TSM was fucked. And I tried to think about like how TSM does win the series because I was kind of agreeing, and I think it's actually going to be the other way around if TSM wins. I think it kind of more comes down to them having their bot lane outperformed C9's, which I think C9's bot lane was one of the weaker points for them throughout the season. And I don't think TSM and Sven and Mythi are quite the right people to punish it in lane, but I can see Zeyzal's first playoff series not being great. Maybe that leads to some problems for them. And I think Sven is really, really good. I think he had a pretty good series versus Echo Fox, even though they did lose a lot of those lanes. I thought he played really well outside of that. So I could see a world where games go mid to late, C9 don't find the advantages that they're quite hoping for, and then Zeyzal has a pretty big responsibility of engaging things and can't quite execute or something. But that's me playing like an 80-20 odds, it feels like, or 70-30 or something. Like I really do think C9's a heavy favorite, man.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close. Like it's going to go all 5 games. But like I think TSM has like a slight edge. Brixton has like that pedigree of like I think he's still like the best mid. Like you can talk to me about Jensen like all the other guys, but like Brixton's like he hits that level sometimes in playoffs where he just outclasses everyone else and he just takes over games. So like if you get him off the assassins, so he can't like just have that crazy Akali game like Aurelia or whatever, like then you might have issues. But like you leave him with the assassins, like I think you're just gonna get dumpstered.
I mean, there's a fair amount of viable assassins, so if you're right, maybe.
Yeah.
But Jensen's always played him pretty tight, so I don't know. Also, they run a bunch of really annoying comps to play assassins into. Like, I don't think you want to play that. really into like the Kindred Zillion bullshit, so they're gonna have to ban that if they want to do that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's hard for me to talk about the specifics of the analytical side, but I don't know. It's such, in a way, it feels like this match is the culmination of like all the storylines from the split, and maybe the year, where it's super fascinating to see these two teams who both have struggled, both had questions around decisions that the management made. Fight to see which one's going to make it into the finals. Because whoever wins that, their fans are just going to embrace them. And then I feel like whoever loses it, maybe Cloud9 will be able to be okay. But, fans are out for blood or victory, whichever one is given to them this weekend. I think they're going to go after. So, I don't know.
I don't think it matters because the winner of the series is going to lose to TL. So.
I do like Travis's point though that like both TSM and C9 have gone through so much shit this split that it's pretty hype that they get to meet like this.
Yeah.
Where like TSM losing in quarters and not making finals for the first time in forever. Like C9 won the offseason, lost the offseason, benching like all those people. Like I don't know. This is so fucking hype.
Yep. I'm really excited about it. Chewbacca, thank you so much for your call. Do you have any other final thoughts?
No, thank you for letting me on, guys. It's been fun.
Have a good one.
You too.
Thanks, Chewy.
Okay, moving on. Even more subs from an hour ago. Jeez, it's so hard to catch up. Okay, where are we? Polish for 6 months. iFury99. LOL Bulbasaur says happy 5 months, baby cakes. Burnt Cooter. For 6 months. 6 months of me saying that name. Just Casual resub for 5 months. Sable Flag resub for 8. I can't read that. Team Corgi Mid subbed. Kiwi Mullet Boy resub for 10 months. We're at the 10-month mark. Desliant Knight for 8 months.
Do you have any year-long subs, Travis?
No. I'm the only one. I think everyone's at like 10 or 11. Nalister or NA Alistair. Tim Blaw, Dark King, Johnny Blade 37. And we've got our next person. Sir Malefact is here. Sir Malefact, are you currently playing World of Warcraft?
I am currently playing World of Warcraft.
Okay.
What's your item level, dude?
Oh, dude, I've got 332 and another 330.
Damn.
All right.
Well, I can understand why it says you've been playing World of Warcraft for 7 hours. You're very committed. This Discord is...
I feel so called out.
Yeah, well, thank you for being a Twitch sub, by the way. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
What
really
are you doing? Are you like having this conversation while doing like World Quest or something?
Exactly. I had to flew to a safe zone. War mode's enabled, so we have to be careful out there.
Yeah. Well, this will be another YouTube video that my YouTube channel rages at the fact that I can't not talk about World of Warcraft.
I think word for word, you said the exact same thing in all of your interviews for like a week. You're like, so, what do you think about the effect of World of Warcraft on your players?
I don't appreciate that impression. Where instead of
I actually thought Travis was talking. I wasn't looking at Discord and he was like,
exactly. New rules. No one can do impressions of me when they call. I would normally ask you where you're calling from, but maybe we can ask you like where in Azeroth you are right now.
Oh, in Azeroth. I'm at Fort Dalen in Stormsong Valley.
Yeah.
But in real life, I am in Chicago.
Okay, very good. What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
I want to talk about, I think Riot. I want to talk about like the whole keeping the broadcast. I was going to talk about the broadcast team and the decision to keep them in to keep them in LA for the upcoming broadcast.
Sure.
But I'm going to try and keep the focus on like the pressure they've gotten from Tencent with regards to like the failure to make, or like Riot's reticence to make a mobile game and the pressure they have with regards to overall monetization. I don't think that, I don't know, like the topic's been sort of talked to death, but maybe if we can talk about like the pressure they're getting from Tencent, which I do not think has been happily addressed as they made out in their PR pitch. I think there's
so why, I'm curious, why do you think that there is pressure from Tencent in this?
I think there's pressure from Tencent because if you look at other free-to-play games that started on PC and have now switched to mobile, I think mobile is just easy. I think mobile's free money. Like Hearthstone, like people just buy like 6. Oh, sorry, I lost. Did I lose audio?
No, we can still hear
No,
you.
you're good.
No,
Sorry.
you're good.
Yeah, I think that like if you look at like how like these other games function with Hearthstone and Fortnite, people just like you go on mobile, you buy a bunch of packs or skins or whatever. It's like a casual, super light game mode, which they can do now because they have Nexus Blitz. Like Nexus Blitz, I think would work fine on mobile. I think that they have valid concerns about porting the competitive experience to mobile, which I think you would address by just having it be like a sub game mode that you can still make money off of.
Though I
But
wonder
not
how.
I think,
Sorry, just to cut in. I think the interesting challenge there is once you do it in one game mode, I think everybody's just going to say do it in the other game mode.
Yeah, and I think that Riot's concern is the integrity of keeping like patches consist. They want like single patches for a single game, and they don't want too much variance between like a mobile and.
I think they just don't think mobile games are hardcore, and they want to be a hardcore gamer company.
I agree, and I think that the tension is that like you can do things that aren't hardcore, like Nexus Blitz, that are there for monetization, and making a mobile version would be non-hardcore and go against company ethos. But like, if they're having enough money issues that they have to kill, like let's put it this way, it's like I'm more excited about esports than I am about any other form of sports. I was against traditional sports for a really long time because like, you know, nerd growing up, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
But when I went to see SKT play RNG two years ago in Chicago in the semifinals for Worlds, it was like a life-changing experience.
Sure.
And not having the broadcast team there, not having them there to document that experience, not having them there to talk to the players in the immediate aftermath of that experience is going to change the tonal energy of the experience for everybody. It's going to be lessened. It's going to like I'm sorry, like
that's
well. One thing to note is that they will have Ovly and Shocks there, so they can do the interview.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I didn't.
I part of me wishes they didn't, because that would I'd have a Twitch IRL backpack
Travis,
with me.
you
Well, I'm here right now. You did get your interview from Riot, but I got your interview right here.
There you go.
Just to hop in real quick, that's actually where I think, and I might be a little biased as someone who would care about this, but I think that's where you might see the most quote unquote damage from this, and less from like some people are like, oh, the casters are going to be nocturnal and they're going to be tired, or like it's not going to be hype because you're not going to see them like standing with a backdrop behind them. Like I don't know. Like I think that stuff's going to be less impactful for the viewer, but I think what does hurt the broadcast is like some of us not being able to talk to the players. And I know we'll have Ovly there and stuff to interview, and that's going to be really helpful. But like just speaking about academy matches and LCS matches, like I'll bump into them getting a drink of water and I'll be like, hey, what happened here? Like, what do you think about this kind of stuff?
Yep.
Like that's actually how I get a lot of my info. It's like, I'll be like, hey, I heard this. What's your opinion, guy who I heard this about? And like, you can't do that if you're not.
Yeah, the amount of times that a caster on the broadcast says, well, I bumped into Double Lift in the background, and he said that actually he doesn't worry about the Kaisa pick because blah, blah, blah. Like, that is, I think, it adds a lot of flavor. And I mean, like, Mark is on the analyst desk, and so he would know more than me, but I do actually think that the casters will not perform as well because I do think they're going to be up in the middle of the night. They're not going to be attached to this event. They won't be able to hear the crowd. Like, I do think it's going to impact it.
Yeah, I mean, I've casted. I did the alt streams, which followed a single player in 2016 during group stage. So they were all in somewhere. I forget where they were. They might have been traveling. I forget. Anyways, I was doing those alt streams.
They were 2016 was all like San Francisco and stuff like that. And you were in LA.
The alt streams were all based in LA.
Yeah.
So either way, like, you know, I can definitely say like casting to an empty room definitely has like a bit of a weird vibe to it. But like once you get into the game, I didn't find it that different. But I also think it.
I thought you were terrible.
Well, I was about to say we're also not. Our alt stream was not like.
It was not supposed to be the mainstream.
It's not hype. You know, we're not trying to be hype. We're like, oh, look at that jungle path, and that's really interesting. You could have done these 4 other camps, and this is like very conversational. Whereas like if you're trying to scream your head off, Captain Flowers, like, oh my God, just in the pants, greatest play ever. Like, that could probably, I could see that potentially getting hurt. But The night thing for me, maybe it's just because I enjoy being nocturnal. I'm actually fucking pumped a little bit that I get to stay up all night for an excuse. But anyways, to go back. Sorry to interject.
No, it's fine. Sorry, go ahead, Sir Maleffect. I think you were going on a little bit longer.
What was I going on about? Yeah, I just think that I just want to see how I guess a lot of it will come down to how they spin it on the day of broadcast. Like, I think doing anything in lines of like a green screen, because Vedius' announcement isn't official, right? Like, Riot hasn't officially said this is
they did.
What we're doing. We are moving this was a long planned measure, because I was trying to run the numbers. Like, if you're transporting like 15 casters and analysts and then maybe 10 tech crew, that's maybe like
it's a lot of so to put it in context.
It's a lot, but if you compare it with like the amount they got in this year, I feel like it's like this is more of a symbolic cost cutting measure.
No, it is. I would not be surprised if they save $1 million not doing this in Korea.
Okay.
Because so what people don't understand is, having worked on my fair share of live broadcasts, so Riot will usually bring 1 or 2 giant trucks out. So control rooms are filled with a shit ton of very expensive and unique equipment that you can purchase and put it in a place in LA, or you can rent at a great deal of money and bring it out in a truck. And, I don't know if they're bringing multiple trucks, but sometimes you bring out multiple trucks because you need to basically have like all this expensive gear, like switchers and boards, and you're routing like amazing, incredible, like technological stuff. I'm trying to make it simple, but and you also need to have all those people out there. Those people not just being the casters, but all the people running the broadcast, producers. You have to cater all those people. It is actually a significant sum of money. The problem is they've been spending it for years, which is why I don't mind. But I understand it is a real cost cutting measure. I understand why if you need to cut costs.
It's almost 10 o'clock, guys. Travis is
shutting down. But I think it makes sense that this is what you would do. So I don't know. That's my take.
Travis, we doing Hotline League at Worlds, by the way?
No. Are you? You're not going to be there. But we could do it in LA, and it would.
It's funny because it's true.
Late night Hotline League at like.
It would be very funny to do a pirate broadcast from Korea, like, hey, where I'm casting the broadcast or whatever nearby. I don't know. Maleffect, do you have any other thoughts? Sorry, we're not trying to rush through you, but we are starting.
No. I'm just trying to. I think I'm all thought about this. I don't want to segue into another topic.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your call, and thank you for being a sub. And good luck with your world quests.
Thanks a bunch. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah, see you.
You too.
Thanks, dude.
I was impressed with his vocab, reticence and ethos, whatever.
Yeah.
Good words.
We don't get that most of the time on the show. Not even from the co-hosts. Johnny Blade 37, Jared HTM, Joe Fantastic, Mont Zalicious, Brian 9397, Hollow Moon LOL reset for 4 months, Rousing Robin, Recursion TV, and Viochi is here. Mark is already laughing, so I'm a little worried. Viochi.
I just love the way you phrase that, like word for word again.
Okay, Viochi, where are you calling from?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, another Pennsylvania caller. I feel like we've had 3, including you, but maybe only 2.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
I think 100 Thieves is abysmal, and I think NA should be crossing their fingers, hoping that they don't reach Worlds.
It is strong opinion night on Hotline League. All right, go educate me.
Okay. I think 100 Thieves has a clear ceiling, and I think they're not going to breach that ceiling anytime soon. I don't think that they're going to win against TL. I don't think they're going to win against any other team against FlyQuest. They got super lucky that they got against FlyQuest. Well, not lucky. They won the tiebreakers. But in the best of 5, I don't think they're going to be winning. I think it's because like I remember at the beginning of the season during Hotline League, people called in saying their players aren't going to be motivated. I don't think that's an issue. I just think their players have a clear ceiling. Some days really good, but I don't see Ryu getting much better. I don't see Cody Sun being extremely better or Aframu, and I don't think Onda's going to improve in time.
Yeah.
So,
Viochi, do you think that the team that would replace them would do better at Worlds? Like, does it matter? Is the third slot from NA going to get out of groups?
I think C9's going to win the split, and if they do, that means I think TSM's going to win a gauntlet, which I think is going to help a lot for TSM. I think having practice in the gauntlet and having practice in the play-in stage is going to help them a lot to do better in groups. But
I like that prediction. That feels like a very, like a... You say it so confidently, you make me want to believe you.
Oh, thank you.
I think it also feels good for an NA fan to hear C9, TSM, TL. Like,
yeah,
with the players that they have.
Yeah.
So this is a weird one to call a hot take because I see everyone agreeing with it, and it's one that I actually agree with too. So like, I don't know.
Well, but I don't think. Do you think? Okay, the hottest hot part of this was that 100 Thieves is abysmal. Do you think 100 Thieves is abysmal?
No, they're not abysmal, but I think that's a bit of hyperbole, obviously. But I wasn't saying like it wasn't a hot take in the sense that I just don't hear anyone like talking about this right now, really. But it's apparently a popular sentiment. It's just like, is it so understood that this is true that no one needs to talk about it? Like, it's surprising to see how many people agree. Like, I agree. It's just like, this team is clearly good, in my opinion. Like, for North America, they're a top team. They will always be a top team. And I think that there's a world where, like, they would go over Echo Fox, or they might go over TSM if TSM's not having a good day or something, like, in a gauntlet series. But that doesn't make me more excited for them to be at Worlds. I would still rather have a wild and crazy ass Echo Fox at Worlds than 100 Thieves.
Would you rather have TSM?
TSM I have a little bit more hope for, but like, I think to the point of the question you asked, Travis, about like, are you expecting anything out of the Thursday anyways? My answer is no, and that's why I don't want to send 100 Thieves who play this slow macro game where they're just going to lose on individual skill and worse macro than other teams there. I'd rather send Echo Fox who are fucking nutty and like can make some waves. So like,
I just worry about TSM going to Worlds and flopping out of groups again. I almost would rather see, if that's the case, if we think that if we think TSM isn't going to make it out of groups, I don't know if I'd want them there. You know, like, it just feels so. I'd almost rather send somebody else, and it's like, well, at least it was 100 T's first try, and maybe they'll make it next year, and they learned a lot from the like. I get that there's like a shit ton of veterans on this thing, but I
understand what you're saying. Like, if that is the outcome, it would feel worse, but I'd still be more excited to watch TSM try and defy that outcome. Like,
yeah,
that I would be way more disappointed in TSM failing to get out of groups again than Echo 100 Thieves for sure. But I also wouldn't give a fuck about 100 Thieves at all. Whereas at least TSM, I'm excited to watch. You know,
why don't you care about 100? Oh, just because their style of play is boring.
Their style of play, I think, is just not going to make. It's just not going to work on the stage. Like, they'll beat a wildcard team who can't deal with their macro and slow, grindy play style, and they'll lose to everyone else who's like clearly better than them.
What if that's what we need? We need to send the most boring, mundane play style. You know, just send that NA, like, I don't want to say it, NA bomb into Worlds.
Are you? What is your pitch on this? You just said send our most boring team to lose.
Yeah,
that's what no one will expect it. You know, let's put it this way: NA, if we ever do well at Worlds, it's not going to be on the backs of a flashy team with some rookies who have heart and are here to really show off what they can do. All right, if NA's going to make Worlds, it's going to be because we're going to resident sleeper the fuck out of the other team. And everyone will just be like, oh, NA's doing well, and it's awful because this is why.
No, I want CLG. I want MSI CLG.
I want the fucking jet lag nocturnal casters in America and LA to fall asleep watching 100 Thieves matches as they win their way out of Worlds.
The studio's so warm. It's like a blanket.
It's so cold. No, it's the opposite. I think our wardrobe is has 65 degrees. It's so fucking cold.
Would you want 100 Thieves to make worlds? Let's say like Cloud9 beats TSM and it's Cloud9 versus TL and they both look so good, but then TL wins the series, then 100 Thieves goes in through championship points, even though let's say they lose a 4th place match.
Yeah.
They look like the worst team, and then they go in through championship points. I feel like that's just so upsetting.
Battery exhausted.
Yeah.
I am exhausted.
What's the likelihood that happens? Because they both have 10 points, C9 and TSM from spring. Second place would give them 90. They'd be at 100. 100 Thieves is at 50, and you get another 50 from 4th, I think. But seeding from summer matters more. So I think no matter what, if 100 Thieves gets 4th, they will not make it.
Oh, I did not know that. I thought they just made it.
I might have got all that really wrong. 100 Thieves is at 70. Yeah. All right. So this is why you don't do math on air.
Yeah.
Yep. No, you're right. Fuck, dude. That looks really miserable. That looks like they're going then.
Mark's having an epiphany right now.
Yeah, I didn't really, because I know that the winner of the TSS or the TL 100 Thieves match 100% goes. Like they 100% auto qualify. Which sucks then, because I think TL is probably a favorite versus C9 and TSM no matter what. But now I guess I'm hoping for TL to get 2nd and C9 to get 1st, so 100 Thieves has to go to the gauntlet.
Yeah, as an NA fan, I'm just hoping for that too.
Yeah, damn, dude. I got real sad. Where'd your camera go, Travis?
Well,
He had to switch to his webcam.
no, I haven't yet. I'm trying. I plugged it back in. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
But now it looks like it's not charging, so that's probably gonna exhaust in a second. But
Dude, TL has to go down for everybody. They have to give it up.
Viochi,
Thank you for having me.
you presented a scary, disparaging future of the world that I didn't want to know. But thank you so much for the call.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
All right,
one
last
more
guy.
to go. Showkill subbed Lord Galactic, the Eternal Cow, and Sham with the 6 months. He wrote battery exhausted. By the way, if everyone could help me, if they could just move their cursor over their screen where the broadcast is happening, the stream right now. And if it says you have a Twitch Prime sub that you can use, please click it. Sports CTC is here. Sports CTC. Thank you for being a Twitch sub. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the great state of Texas.
The great state of Texas. Very good.
Hook 'em horns.
Yeah.
Hope you like it.
Okay.
I ain't no fan, so I'll take
Okay, no.
Yeah. Are you
No problem.
Kelby?
What? No.
Okay. Well,
That was my very pathetic attempt to connect.
you are our last caller for the night. So what do you got for us? Give us something good.
All right, my topic is that League of Legends Path to Pro, compared to what it used to be, is really bad right now compared to the other major sports styles like CSGO, Overwatch, Rocket League, etc.
You know, I wanted at least just a positive topic, something that could lift me up.
Well,
and make
it
me
can be
sad.
positive. I can make it positive.
Okay, go for it.
For the first one, I say we can do CSGO, which right now there's 2 to 3 really good third-party sites you can get noticed on, like ESEA, Faceit. And the way to get noticed on there is to just perform very good matches, get high RWS, and then get noticed by one team, maybe do good in tourney like that, get noticed by another team, etc., etc. For Overwatch, you have this giant open division that the already done ones are going to do again later in the year probably. And then you get promoted from that to contenders, and then contenders possibly to the Overwatch League.
Yeah.
And then for Rocket League, you have all these open tourneys I see them doing all the time. Also third-party websites.
Sure.
And for Dota, I've never played Dota, so I don't know much about it, but I know there's some type of challenger ladder tourneys they do.
I mean, Kelby, do they have a better set? No, Kelby's shaking his head, so.
It's just that Thompson, the guy who actually just won TI, was a solo queue player like 4 months ago. So his path to pro was pretty nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had 0 prize pool winnings before
Yeah.
and then he made $11 million.
Well, he made 2, but
Well, split, but
yeah. That would have been dope.
Sport. So how's this positive?
I actually think. Sorry, I think that League of Legends path to pro. Are you saying in North America or like around the world?
Well, I was thinking originally North America, but if you think about, I know Europe has like tons of different like leagues and divisions you can go through.
I think that the path to pro in North America is actually like pretty solid. You have a couple different options. You either need to go to LCK or EULCS.
Yeah, there it is.
And then just get recognized.
I realized too late
and
that he
then
was
the
gonna do
owners
this.
will come banging down your door with shit tons of money.
I mean, I don't know why I expect anything else.
Put you on a plane, first class. We treat you right.
Scouting grounds,
Yeah, that's a lot of different systems.
Scouting grounds? That's not where we get our talent for NALCS. We get it from EULCS. Okay.
Yeah,
the good talent.
Go ahead.
Kelby's memeing. To answer more seriously, I agree that like the esports standard of like some sort of open tournament structure that you like work your way and grind through to reach the Premier League is obviously lacking in League esports, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily worse. I think it's actually just different.
Yeah.
Where there's a lot more focus. Like I actually think as an individual, you have a pretty good chance if you're actually good and you want to play on an LCS team of getting there, because there's so many extra little things that you get to do besides play on a team. Like if you're a good player on a bad team and you're playing these open qualifiers, it can take a while to get your come up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if you are popping off in solo queue, you have a high rating, go to scouting grounds, like you are 100% getting on an academy team if you show up.
Yeah.
And that has happened all this year. I would say scouting grounds plus academy has actually been an amazing success. And we've seen more new players, like young guys, come in the last 2 years and stick in the scene more than we had seen in the 2 previous years with Challenger. I would have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's true.
Yeah, I was looking through scouting grounds earlier. I'll go ahead, Kobe. You're fine.
No. I agree with Mark. I think that LCS and Overwatch have the best path to pro right now. Just because like these organizations, the professional organizations in both of those leagues, support sister and or academy teams or B teams or whatever. And in other esports, it doesn't really exist. So through the nature of having more slots, and I think that this year in particular for LCS, I think we've seen academy talent be utilized more than any other year by far. As far as like people getting promoted up and put on rosters and given chances and stuff. Does that sound right to you, Mark? Or
yeah, I think so, because what often happened previously would be like some, and I'm going to say shitty here in comparison to LCS teams, but some shitty challenger team knocks out some shitty LCS team, and then like they get shit on for like 3 months before they get kicked back out of the league, and like maybe one player there externally has impressed people enough, maybe 1 or 2, to like end up on a better team next split, and that was your dream.
Yeah.
Because there was like the one C9 story, but that's not what most people were. It was like, I hopefully will impress enough people on this bad team, like Smoothie did on TDK, to then end up on good teams. Whereas the rest of TDK just fucking died and disappeared. But now you end up on academy teams and you have a chance to prove to people in person how good you are.
Yeah. And lack of relegation makes, as a team owner, you like less risk averse in like, fuck, dude, can I really afford to take this risk on this academy player? Because if I'm in the bottom 3 and facing relegation, that's a scary premise.
Yeah, like I've heard like the devs talk about like Golden Guardians, if they would have been in the league like 2 years ago, they been relegated first split and probably not made it back.
Yeah. Would Jack and Reaper have made this crazy roster move if relegations existed at the start of the split?
I don't think so.
It's hard. And look where they are now. It paid off, right?
And Golden Glue had Golden Glue's going to be on a team next split 100% after getting this opportunity. So I agree. It's like I don't think it's as cool. Like in the sense that like you get this TI story of this guy like coming from fucking nowhere and dominating. You get like Blabber's story where like he played in scouting grounds, was still in school, and then like once he was done, joined C9, then played on their academy team, and then became their starting jungler, and is now like pushing to potentially go to the Worlds. And it's like it feels more step by step, which sometimes isn't as hype, but I do think it actually is a pretty good path.
Yeah, it's not as hype, but like cool. There's one Sumail, there's one Thompson, there's one Miracle a year. Like it's really feast or famine. Whereas like if you're talking about an actual good process or path, I think it's much better in League and Overwatch.
A little bit side topic, but do you either y'all remember? I think it was last split that I think it was might have been, I can't remember exactly, but when CLG was still in after he was still in CLG and he was sick that one week, and they had the player travel from like the East Coast to come play for him.
Yeah, you're talking about Joey?
Joey, yeah, that's who it was.
Joey.
Is he still on the team?
Yeah, he's on TLA.
He played at MSI.
He played at MSI, subbing for Ole.
Oh yeah, fuck. He did not have a great MSI experience, if I recall correctly.
No, but I don't think he was prepared for that experience.
Yeah.
I didn't have a good MSI experience. All right. Sports CTC, I would just iterate everything they've said, but do you feel like that's a fair response?
Yeah, I think it's very fair. Kind of changed my mind a little bit.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for calling in. I think we can all agree Riot has an amazing path to pro experience. Really like what they've done there. Really supportive of their efforts. The camera exhausted again. I didn't even notice that when I was saying. Okay, well, hey, thank you, Sports CTC.
No problem. Hold me back.
Yeah.
Thanks,
dude.
All right. Well, let me try and fix this while you guys. Mark, what do you got to say?
Thanks everybody for watching. Got 2,000 people in here. Only Kelby. You know, we didn't even need a big name to get these 2K people in here.
We
so
just needed controversy and for you.
I'm really happy we're doing so good, Travis, that we can carry Kelby. No, I'm just kidding.
I appreciate it.
I had a lot of fun this show. I appreciated Kelby's insight. And I'm going to go play more WoW.
Anything you want to promote? Are you going to go to the thing this weekend with me after the games are done?
What is this weekend? What? Is it the
charity event?
Oh no! Fuck yeah! So I want to go to that, but it's like 2 hours away, isn't it?
I'm not sure, but I'm gonna be there.
I will 100% try and get to that if I can. I actually fucked up really because they were asking me about some like if I would be available for it and stuff.
Yeah, I heard I got the gig because you couldn't take it.
Kind of. I definitely messed up like the schedule of like what was happening with the LCS, and I was telling them I could probably do it at that time.
Well, thank you because I need the work.
No problem, dude. I think you've seen Beyond the Summit stuff before,
yeah.
Right?
I think I love the idea of sitting on the couch and just hanging out and talking to people. Like, actually, like I've wanted to do an event like this for a while. I would like it. For those that don't know, Swarmio is hosting a event that is happening this weekend. I tweeted my involvement, but it's a big streamer tournament called Gift the Rift that is taking place on the 1st this Saturday. A ton of big names are involved, and I'm going to be hosting it, so we'll have fun interviews and all sorts of stuff going on there. So hopefully you can duck in between that stream and the TSMC9 stream.
I say Beyond the Summit. I'm not 100% sure if it is.
Well, it's not Beyond the Summit branded.
Right, it's not branded
so
that
you
way,
might have just leaked that. But it is them doing the production. So I actually think it's going to be it's Beyond the Summit League of Legends, but again, it's Swarmio putting on an event called Gift the Rift. So
damn, I'm Leak City tonight.
You leaked the production team. Oh no.
You say that comedically, but I think Beyond the Summit is one of the teams that people would actually get hyped for to know that they're working on it.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I'm just saying like I don't know that there would be a lot of like negative recourse for you sharing that information.
Yeah. Like if you watch Smash Summit or Dota Summit, like it's really cool. It's super laid back, super chill, really good like accessibility to all the people. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so I'm working on that. I'm trying to grab the link so I can put it in the chat. How are you doing? So, by the way, this past weekend, there was a thread. Sleuths figured it out. Kelby May joining CLG. Did you hear about this, Mark?
No. Do I care about this?
On the on the CLG subreddit, there's a thread that was linked to one of Kelby's tweets, and it was like Kelby hinting at joining at a possible return, and I love this thread so much. It's so good. So Kelby, welcome back to CLG.
I commented in there that I was not returning to CLG.
What? This stands in stark contrast to the words that you have specifically told me.
Nope.
All right. Are you able to talk about what you're doing yet?
Mm,
Is it on your Twitter?
no.
When can you talk about it? It's been
I don't know.
It's been like a month.
Yeah, it has been a month.
It just looks
I mean,
right now your
everybody-
Twitter makes it look like you
everybody-
got fired from Twitch.
I did get fired.
Really?
I got fired for coming on Hotline League and bashing Riot, and Twitch said, "There's no way that you can slam one of our partners like that." And I said,
Isn't that
They said
against
you-
TOS?
"They
To,
said you have to. They said you have to stop. It's one or the other, Twitch or Hotline League." And I chose Hotline League. That's how dedicated.
That was a
Isn't it
mistake.
against TOS to bully another streamer, or to like quote unquote harass them, Kelby?
They're gonna shut down my personal Twitch channel because of bullying the Riot Games channel.
I wonder if you're gonna get kicked off here too, dude.
Damn. Well, it was fun, guys.
But Kelby, you're not going to say what you do right now.
No, it's not. It's everybody in the industry knows.
Oh
It's
well, it's not allowed to be known by these fine folks.
Can you just call Travis's Twitch chat not in the industry? That's fucked up, dude.
Yeah, this is the industry. These
Well, then they know.
1,763 people are the industry.
And they know it doesn't even need to be stated.
Oh, good point.
It's not that it's like secret or anything like that. It's just that I haven't talked about discussing it externally yet, and I don't know how it gets.
Well,
talked about.
here's your mission.
Sure.
1,706, not you. The 763 people that are watching, the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, that watch this show on YouTube. Find out what Kelby's doing. All right, this is your it's a alternate real or augmented reality. What are those things called? ARG.
Yeah, augmented reality game.
Yeah.
What's the chance I get out of here before 10:30?
Super strong.
Super strong.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So
Are you
anyway,
filling for something?
no, we're just hanging out. We're having a good time.
Speak for yourself, bud.
This has been, thank you so much. I'm going to be on that broadcast this weekend for Gift the Rift. Check it out. Kelby May, thank you for being on. Riot Games, please don't hate us. It's all out of love. But also, please sell your products so you can afford to send people to places, because I'm going to be sending myself to Korea, and you can't send your people to Korea. It's kind of... Mark is here, and that's Hotline League, episode 42. Thanks, everyone, for watching.